Hi, I'm here with the Mass readings for Saturday, November 16th, 2019, Saturday of the 32nd week in Ordinary Time. A reading from the Book of Wisdom. When peaceful stillness compassed everything, and the night in its swift course was half spent, your all-powerful word from heaven's royal throne bounded, a fierce warrior, into the doomed land, bearing the sharp sword of your inexorable decree. And as he alighted, he filled every place with death. He still reached to heaven while he stood upon the earth, for all creation, in its several kinds, was being made over anew, serving its natural laws, that your children might be preserved unharmed. The cloud overshadowed their camp, and out of what had before been water, dry land was seen emerging, out of the Red Sea an unimpeded road, and a grassy plain out of the mighty flood. Over this crossed the whole nation, sheltered by your hand, after they beheld stupendous wonders, for they ranged about like horses and bounded about like lambs, praising you, O Lord, their deliverer. The word of the Lord. The responsorial psalm. Today's responsorial psalm is Psalm number 105. The response is, Remember the marvels the Lord has done. Remember the marvels the Lord has done. Sing to him, sing his praise, proclaim all his wondrous deeds. Glory in his holy name. Rejoice, O hearts that seek the Lord. Remember the marvels the Lord has done. Then he struck every firstborn throughout their land, the first fruits of all their manhood, and he led them forth laden with silver and gold, with not a weakling among their tribes. Remember the marvels the Lord has done. For he remembered his holy word to his servant Abraham, and he led forth his people with joy, with shouts of joy, his chosen ones. Remember the marvels the Lord has done. Remember the marvels the Lord has done. Today's Gospel is the Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 18, verse 1 to 8. Jesus told his disciples a parable about the necessity for them to pray, always, without becoming weary. He said, There was a judge in a certain town who neither feared God nor respected any human being. And a widow in that town used to come to him and say, Render a just decision for me against my adversary. For a long time the judge was unwilling, but eventually he thought, While it is true that I neither fear God nor respect any human being, because this widow keeps bothering me, I shall deliver a just decision for her, lest she finally come and strike me. The Lord said, Pay attention to what the dishonest judge says. Will not God then secure the rights of his chosen ones, who call out to him day and night? Will he be slow to answer them? I tell you, he will see to it that justice is done for them speedily. But when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth? The Gospel of the Lord. Here are some thoughts on today's scripture. If Jesus concludes a corrupt and ruthless judge can be moved by a helpless widow, what kind of response can we expect when we, his people, call out in our helplessness to our loving and compassionate God? I tell you, he will give them swift justice. That is, he will give them what is rightfully due to them. There is another and very indifferent interpretation of this passage. This second interpretation of the parable comes from Melanie Svoboda. She is the former provincial superior of the Sisters of Notre Dame in Chardon, Ohio. She wrote this in a religious review in 1996. What happens if we turn that around and say that we are the judge and God is the widow? In some ways, this interpretation makes more sense. We, like the judge, are basically unjust. Sometimes we, too, have no fear of God. That is, we do not allow God to scare us into being good. Similarly, like the judge, we persist in refusing to listen to the cries of the poor all around us. But God is the persistent widow who will not go away. God keeps badgering us, refusing to accept as final our no to love. God will persist until we render a just judgment, that is, until we let the goodness out, until we learn to love. Jesus, I trust in you. Thanks for listening. Have a blessed day.